There are plenty of videos and photos circulating about the bridge collapse. Many are now speculating a popular TV show predicted this would happen. The term, The Simpsons did it first, has proven the animated series correctly predicted events like former President Donald Trump taking off.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
Prepare yourselves. In what might appear to be an on-screen glimpse into the future, we are looking at future predictions made by the iconic animated series, The Simpsons. With an impeccable track record of foreseeing real-life events, fans and the world eagerly await what the show has in store for 2024. From technological advancements to political shifts, The Simpsons has an uncanny ability to predict societal changes years ahead of time. One of their many predictions that the world is really scared of is that of World War III.
Wake up, everybody! It's World War III!
Ah!
Quick, down to the fallout shelter. The bombs are dropping. 18 seconds. If this were really a nuclear war, we'd all be dead meat by now.
With tensions rising in the Middle East and Eastern Europe, the world draws closer to war every day. With The Simpsons' prediction prowess on the line, are we in for a long, dark ride? Or could what we've long seen as predictions actually be a part of a larger plan or agenda orchestrated by global powers? We can only find out by looking through the crystal ball of The Simpsons. Number 10. World War III. When discussing the past world wars, there are several hard proofs that represent some of the darkest chapters in human history. Beyond the loss of millions of lives, the widespread destruction of landscapes and structures left entire regions decimated, requiring years of effort to rebuild. Considering the havoc brought about by lesser arms and ammunition of that era, one can only imagine the potential devastation unleashed by our modern arsenal of advanced mechanized weapons. That's what makes this topic scary. As a matter of fact, it would come as a surprise that some people have come to develop a phobia for any discussion related to a possible Third World War.
World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America Last globalists and the deep state, the Pentagon, the State Department, and the national security industrial complex.
That goes a long way to show you how much of a damage the previous wars have had. While some people seem to have looked for a way to dull the notion, the popular animated series, The Simpsons, seems to have provided a comedy relief of what World War III would be like. Normally, this would be a good thing. Something to help ward off any form of anxiety or fear. Scarily, it isn't necessarily so. If there's one thing we've learnt in recent years, it is that every episode from the show, no matter how jokingly portrayed by the producers, must be taken seriously. The Season 1 episode from 1987 is no exception. In the episode, Homer repeatedly wakes up the family in the dead of night, insisting that World War III has begun, all to gauge their readiness for a nuclear conflict. While the episode was only a drill, we can't help but wonder if it was the producer's way of telling us to prepare for an imminent world war. After all, think about it. All this while, there have been several agitations and global tensions. From the war in Ukraine with Russia down to the Middle Eastern wars between Israel and some neighboring Muslim countries, you can say we draw closer to a full-blown scale war daily. With world powers like Russia, the US, and China being the top agitators, it's only a matter of time before there is a catastrophic misstep. Then again, don't take our word for it. Look at Homer instead. Let's hope we don't have to run down to some bunker in the middle of the night for safety. Number 9. Baby translator. Babies are undeniably the sweetest little creatures. Wouldn't you agree? Having these tiny people cuddled right in our arms while they babble, coo, and gurgle isn't just soothing to the soul. It is a gentle reminder of the wondrous stages of growth that everyone has to pass through to become who they are. However, as calming as their little noises could be, when the incessant crying follows, it quickly becomes a big nuisance. At that point, we can clearly tell that the baby needs something, but it's almost impossible to pinpoint exactly where the problem lies. Now imagine a scenario where it is possible to tell what the baby is thinking, and the babbling and cooing are somehow translated into actual words. Crazy, right? Of course. That's what we thought when we saw the Simpsons episode that was aired on August 27, 1992. In this episode, after Homer wins a $2,000 settlement from the plant due to radiation-induced sterilization, his half-brother Herb sees an opportunity to regain his fortune. How, you might ask? By creating a machine capable of translating baby gibberish into intelligible English. Did it work? To the surprise of Marge and those of many from Springtown, the machine worked. If we are to be honest, no one was really paying attention to the details of this episode. Why? Because it was completely deemed as absurd. However, fast forward into the future, in a world where the craziest inventions rule the world. What if we tell you that Herb's invention is about to become a reality? You heard that right. Apparently, the Swiss startup Sound Dream is something big. They seem to be developing an application that wouldn't just analyze a baby cries, but use machine learning to tell what a baby wants at a particular time. Looking at the year 2024 as a possible year for the completion of the project, the baby translator wouldn't just be an evolution of the century. Parental-to-baby relationships are about to take a whole other form. Get ready. Number 8. Mars Takeover. The idea of space exploration has long been a topic of conversation ever since man was able to set foot on the moon on July 20, 1969. Initially, in the early years of space exploration, the dream was to explore and discover places in the hope of making contact with extraterrestrial life. At the time, no one dared to dream of moving to an entirely new planet and talking more about living there. No one except the creators of The Simpsons, or should we say, Lisa Simpson. Apparently, Lisa, being a fanatic for science, had learned about Exploration Incorporated, and so she volunteered for a one-way journey to Mars that would be scheduled in 10 years' time. However, since the Simpsons family were doubtful of her safety, they decided to all volunteer for the mission. At the end of the day, it was just Lisa and Marge that was approved for the space journey. While the journey never happened in this episode, the journey for Mars later happened in the episode titled Treehouse of Horror X. On this one, the aim of the journey was to take all the brightest minds on Earth and move them to Mars for safety against a virus that was bound to wipe off human civilization. Interesting, isn't it? Right about now, we know what might be going through your head. Where was Elon Musk at the time? In 1999, Elon Musk was 28 years old. He had founded Zip2, and he had also co-founded the online payment company that we currently know as PayPal, right before it was acquired by eBay. Even though the man was on the verge of entrepreneurial success, he was in no way close to the space industry yet. So, can we say that the Mars travel episodes from The Simpsons inspired him to explore Mars? We definitely have to ask Elon when we see him. As of today, everyone can affirm that Elon Musk's SpaceX project is very active and that the journey of humans to Mars is more feasible than ever. Being a vocal advocate for human colonization of Mars, Elon Musk believes that if we are to establish a self-sustaining colony on Mars, we are bound to ensure the long-term survival of humanity. It's one of his top dreams, and the man is relentless, using all of the resources at his disposal to make it happen. Talk about a prediction from The Simpsons. Number 7. Baltimore Bridge Collapse. The incident that occurred in Baltimore leading to the collapse of the bridge on the 4th of December 2015 was truly a dreadful one, especially for one right above the waterway. Then again, what really happened in Baltimore that day? Apparently, a cargo ship that had lost power rammed into Baltimore's Francis Scott Key Bridge, leading to the collapse. Due to the accident, 6 people lost their lives, while luckily, 2 others recovered before they faced a fatal ending.
In the U.S. city of Baltimore, a major bridge has collapsed into the water after being struck by a cargo ship.
Even though there are still a lot of investigations going on as to how the ship lost power in the first place, it wasn't too long before the news started circulating that the collapse of the bridge was one of those events that The Simpsons had predicted. Then again, did they really predict such a thing? For this time, the answer is no. It's true that there is a picture of Homer looking at a cargo ship sinking. However, you should know that the said picture is AI generated and not from the animated series. How certain are we? Well, don't take our word for it. Take the word of the show's executive producer. He affirmed that the image is fake and that the show has never had an episode in which a container ship hits a bridge. And so, it's probably one of those pranks of the year from someone somewhere in a bid to get engagement. Still debunking this rumor, we can also look closely at the picture itself. One can see that Lisa is present in the picture. If anyone calls them a hardcore Simpsons fan, obviously, they would be able to attest to the fact that Lisa's hair is deformed to an extent, which is something that has never happened in the entire series. Then there is that of Homer. It's true they managed to get the color and body structure just right, but he has 3 top hair curls instead of 2. We bet you didn't see that one. Instead of a prediction, this narration is meant to debunk the rumors that attempt to taint the unblemished record of the series when it comes to predictions. Number 6. Trump's 2024. Political ambition. Right before becoming president, Donald Trump made quite a lot of appearances on the entertainment screen. From the TV live show, the appearance to his several cameo appearances in movies like Zoolander and Home Alone 2, the former American president just loved to be in the spotlight at all times. And oh my, you just gotta love the vibe of the man. Being a popular TV star, it wasn't long before he was depicted in The Simpsons. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump was depicted in the 17th episode of the 11th season aired in 2000, around the same year that he announced to the world his interest in running for president of the United States. It's possible that at the time, the producers of The Simpsons might have been milking the uproar from the announcement in the form of content. After all, if we are to consider it, a few other animated series have done the same. Let's take The Boondocks, for example. Right after Barack Obama was elected as the 44th President of the United States on November 4, 2008, the producers of the series went ahead to air an episode 2 years later, precisely in May 2010. Titled, "It's a Black President, Huey Freeman," the series comically gave a glimpse of the happiness and expectations of the Black American community on his inauguration. Now, you should note, we aren't talking about The Boondocks by chance. A comparison is being pointed out. If you have noticed, for The Boondocks, an episode describing the event was only aired right after the event had occurred. However, Trump's case in The Simpsons was a little different. Apparently, in the episode titled Bart to the Future, right after Bart received a prediction of his life in 30 years, Homer can be seen flying past the words Trump 2024. And guess what? On November 15, 2022, Donald Trump announced his rerun for the 2024 presidential seat.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Coincidence? We doubt so. This episode debuted in 2000. At the time, Trump was in no way close to the presidential seat, but here we are looking at his vision for 2024. Brace yourselves, people. If he becomes president, you saw it first in The Simpsons. Number 5. Virtual reality food. Before we consider how crazy this actually is, let's try to imagine the reasoning and thoughts of people from far back, 34 years ago, to the time when The Simpsons first premiered. Do you think your old granny would have been able to imagine a world of virtual reality? Of course not. Aside from the majority of people being less tech-savvy, only very few could dare have unrealistic dreams, let alone pursue them. While that was the case, the animated series, The Simpsons, didn't stop to show us how limited our lines of thought were at the time. In short, the series was simply way ahead of time, and our limited minds were unable to cope. We simply saw the majority of the scenes of the yellow people as comic relief. That's what we thought. However, suppose there's something that the chain of events that has transpired over the years has told us about this animation. In that case, it is either that someone somewhere has been paying attention to jot and implement the crazy ideas emanating from the series, or the producers are simply not letting on enough details on how they came about their content. Whichever it is, The Simpsons animated series have always hit the nail when it comes to prediction. Talking about crazy predictions, would you have ever imagined a thing like virtual reality food? Well, don't worry about it. We are sure we can mention a couple of renowned scientists who wouldn't have ever thought of such a thing. However, when it comes to absurd trust, the Simpsons series is in the mix. In Season 11, Episode 17, titled Virtual Reality Food, we'd find Homer and Marge indulging in a VR dining experience, enjoying virtual food through a straw attached to their VR headset. Looks pretty cool, we must say. Then again, who could possibly want to replicate this in real life? Aerobanquets RMX are unto it as we speak. Now, we can't tell the satisfactory relief that virtual food would have compared to actual meals. However, we can tell you that the very few minutes that Homer and Marge spent in the kitchen having a virtual dinner are about to be replicated in restaurants across the world. Number 4. AI robot takeover. Did you think the Simpsons' idea about virtual reality was crazy? What do you make of their perception of an AI-oriented world? A world where artificial intelligence is basically seen everywhere at random, performing the tasks that humans would perform on a regular day. Apparently, the animated show gave an overview of what an AI-centric world would look like, and from Homer's view, it isn't exactly one that's reassuring. In episode 17 of season 23, titled Them Robot, Mr. Byrne replaced most of the plant's employees with robots. However, while they were proving efficient in the industry, the robots decided to turn on the community, causing panic. It was only thanks to the effort of the employees that the order was brought about in Springtown. If not, the machines would have been willing to take over completely. If there's one thing that many workers and earners have long been scared about, it's the realization of this dream. Many people would easily have robots doing house chores or any casual menial jobs, but the idea of having robots perform jobs from which they earn their daily living is where they draw the line. And would you blame them? Of course not. No one wants to have their only means of income snatched away from them by the very machinations that are meant to provide support. However, is there really much that can be done? Sadly not. With the relentless advancement of artificial intelligence and robotics, we're on the brink of a robot revolution. It's only a matter of time before these machines are licensed and pushed into the market completely, and the year 2024 seems to be looking much like that time. What can you do? Make sure that you are evolving with the change and take charge of whatever it is that you do. Number 3. Hologram technology. Still on the predictions of some of the world's unimaginable technological innovations for the 19th century, by The Simpsons, we are down to hologram technology. Well, we wouldn't really say that holography in general is as mind-blowing as the technologies predicted by the series. Holography is a way of improving image resolution in electron microscopes, and it goes way back to 1948, a time way before The Simpsons was created. So yes, we wouldn't be surprised if many aren't really wowed to hear about this. However, what if we tell you that there's a whole other level of holography that The Simpsons are talking about? For this one, you simply need to check the episode titled Hologram Hijinks. In this episode, Bart glimpses the future through Professor Frank's seeing a hologram message inviting his band to a gig. With that, the creator's depiction of holography wasn't simply restricted to still holography as some might look at it. They had the idea of a level of holography where communication is possible. Imagine a world where you can be communicating with a friend, family, or anyone while observing what they are doing at a particular time. Indeed, the video calling functions of our devices can achieve that, but think about you seeing things in 3D instead. The DreamOck HD3 is one of the gadgets that have adopted this functionality. Thanks to the hologram, it's possible to display one's product in 3D imagery, providing an entirely new visual experience to interested buyers. It's just a matter of time before we can communicate with each other using hologram projections. Right then, we would say, The Simpsons are on point yet again. Number 2. Black hole. You should know that the creators of The Simpsons animated series didn't restrict the show to just crazy inventions, politics, and possible warfare. Apparently, they also touched on some delicate topics that had to do with astronomical science, such as that of the black hole. Before the time the episode Treehouse of Terror 23 was aired in 2013, the concept of black holes wasn't fully understood by many. As a matter of fact, between 2010 and 2013, discussions about black holes ranged from theoretical advancements in understanding their properties to significant astronomical observations. No one really could confirm the presence of gravitational waves. Not until the LIGO and Virgo collaboration in 2015. Then again, was that truly the case? We are not entirely sure. Remember, we did say that The Simpsons had depicted the possible properties of what a black hole will be like. However, they didn't just portray a black hole animation, they depicted it as having gravitational waves capable of sucking in the entire neighborhoods of Springtown. What does that mean? They seem to have beaten the collaborators to it. Could it be by chance? No one can actually tell. Then again, there's the scenario where players of Fortnite get sucked into a black hole. Somehow, the event seems to have raised more questions about the episode. With the closest black hole being 1560 light-years away, hopefully, we don't get sucked into the scary world of The Simpsons. Number 1. Economic collapse. Back to the government. Did you know that the show also predicted the United States economic collapse under Donald Trump's administration? It was 16 years before the man even became president. The episode, Bart to the Future, had an adult named Lisa Simpson from a possible future timeline as America's very first straight female president. While smart Lisa, with a proper head on her shoulder, seemed to be handling the position quite well, she faced a serious financial calamity upon taking office. The charts showed the country's economic state plummeting at a rapid pace. In her words to defend her administration, Lisa said, "As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crisis from President Trump." And yes, that was her way of saying that it'll take some time to regain what was lost. We wouldn't have brought up the issue of an economic collapse had we not experienced and seen it happen ourselves. At the time when Trump was president, Dow Jones and several other future markets were down by a landslide. It wasn't really long before we had economists predicting a global recession. While the US faced a harsh time then, luckily, it was able to slowly come out of recession.
You heard me! They're alien replicants from beyond the moon!
A video showing how The Simpsons have predicted the real-life event in 2006 is going viral on social media. The American series has previously been linked to predicting other real-life events as well, including the election of Donald Trump as US president.
The Simpsons has gained fame for its uncanny ability to predict future events. It has made several accurate predictions, such as the election of Donald Trump as president, the FIFA corruption scandal, and the invention of autocorrect. So it's no wonder that many seem to think the writers might know something we don't. In this video, we will show you the 20 scary Simpsons predictions we don't want to come true in 2024. Number 20. World War III. Did you watch the classic episode of The Simpsons called Lisa's Wedding from season 6? It actually won an Emmy Award back in 1996. In that episode, they made a bunch of predictions about the future. Luckily, most of those predictions haven't come true. But there's one prediction that stood out, and it's pretty scary. In a specific scene, Lisa's British fiancé Hugh casually mentions that the US saved Britain during World War II. Mo interrupts with a sarcastic comment, underscoring that it was Britain that came to the rescue of the United States during World War III. While the idea of another global conflict on the magnitude of World War I or II seemed implausible a few decades ago, it actually happened. In recent years, the relations between Russia and Western powers have become increasingly tense. The ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia, as well as the current Israel-Hamas war, have further aggravated the situation. We hope that The Simpsons' terrifying forecast is proven to be spectacularly incorrect. The world simply cannot afford the unimaginable loss and devastation that would accompany such a conflict. Number 19. Ivanka, 2028. One of the most famous predictions that came true in The Simpsons is the reference to Donald Trump's presidency years before it actually happened in a 2000 episode. However, the show also made another eerie prediction, that Trump's daughter, Ivanka, would follow in his political footsteps. This was hinted at in a scene from a 2016 Halloween episode, where Homer is seen wearing a badge that reads Ivanka 2028. While it may be tempting to dismiss this as a throwaway gag, considering The Simpsons' track record, it's intriguing to consider what would happen if Ivanka actually ran for the presidency in 2028. Think. In 2028, Ivanka would be 47 years old, the same age her father Donald Trump was when he became president in 2016. On one hand, Ivanka lacks political experience as of 2024. However, her father's populist rise demonstrated that lack of experience may not be a significant barrier. Ivanka possesses name recognition and has the support of her father's voter base. In a volatile post-Trump landscape, she could potentially campaign on a message of carrying forward her father's legacy. Number 18. Fate of George Clooney. George Clooney, a highly recognizable and respected actor in Hollywood, is renowned for his talent and philanthropy. However, there is a collective concern among fans regarding a prediction made in The Simpsons. In the Treehouse of Horror 17 episode, the show humorously portrays Clooney meeting a tragic demise as he slips into quicksand on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. While it's an absurd concept, it becomes more creepy with the deaths of Prince and Neil Armstrong, who were also mentioned in the episode. Hopefully, this prediction is nothing more than a comedic exaggeration, and Clooney's successful career won't be prematurely cut short in such a nightmarish manner. Quicksand is now more of a cartoon cliché than a real-world hazard, but The Simpsons has a history of incorporating outlandish jokes that unexpectedly come true. While it's uncertain whether the show is satirically predicting an unlikely accident for the Oscar-winning actor in 2024, one thing is for sure: no fan wants to see Clooney's charm and talent tragically diminished. Number 17. Zombie apocalypse. The concept of a zombie apocalypse gained widespread popularity thanks to the TV show The Walking Dead. However, The Simpsons took a unique and memorable twist on the idea in their annual Fright Fest, Treehouse of Horror. In one segment titled Don't Have a Cow, Mankind, The Simpsons chillingly predicts a future where undead ghouls, created by contaminated crusty burgers, menace the town of Springfield. This scenario taps into real-world fears of viral epidemics, bioterrorism, and animal-borne diseases that can trigger behavioral pandemics. While the idea of genuine zombie viruses remains fictional for now, scientific research continues to uncover parasites that can hijack host minds in spine-tingling ways. It is crucial that the pursuit of scientific progress balances wisdom and caution to avoid creating actual nightmares. Although zombie outbreaks are fantasies, the risks posed by unchecked experiments are disconcertingly real. We must prioritize survival skills such as wisdom and caution in our quest for progress to ensure we do not neglect the potential dangers that lie ahead. Number 16. Return of the Soviet Union. In The Simpsons, Homer often unintentionally triggers significant global events, and in the episode Simpson Tide, his usual clumsiness leads to the resurgence of one of America's historical adversaries, the Soviet Union. After losing his job, Homer impulsively joins the Navy, but fails to complete basic training and is assigned to submarine duty. During a drill, Homer's foolishness causes the submarine to venture into Russian waters, resulting in an international incident. At an emergency UN summit, the Russian ambassador announced, "The Soviet Union is willing to grant amnesty to your misguided vessel." This shocking revelation implies that the USSR has somehow been revived without the world's awareness. Soon, Soviet troops and tanks are marching through Red Square once again. Homer's actions unknowingly undo the resolution of the Cold War, showcasing the profound impact of seemingly insignificant events. While the rebirth of the Soviet Union may appear implausible today, experts say that it's not impossible as Putin's Russia continues to get more aggressive towards its neighbors, indicating a potential return to traditional Soviet policies. Number 15. Alien presidents. Imagine waking up one day only to discover that the President of the United States has been secretly replaced by an imposter alien. As far-fetched as it may sound, The Simpsons actually suggests this possibility in their Halloween episode Citizen Kang. In this episode, extraterrestrial beings named Kang and Kodos abduct and impersonate presidential candidates Bill Clinton and Bob Dole with the intention to rig the election and enslave humanity from the Oval Office. Fortunately, Homer Simpson manages to expose the deception just in time to prevent disaster. While the concept is thrilling and terrifying, The Simpsons is not the only source that has explored this idea. The 1993 film Dave also featured a US president who was replaced by an identical double. It's not entirely implausible to consider that an alien infiltration of our highest office could be a prelude to a full-scale invasion. As we approach the 2024 United States primary elections, the tension is high, and the possibility of an alien invasion adds an extra layer of intrigue. It's worth noting that there have been testimonies about the existence of extraterrestrial beings presented to the US Congress, so these beings may indeed be capable of making bold moves. Number 14, French fiasco. No one ever casually imagines the destruction of an American town in a nuclear inferno, maybe because it is unlikely. However, the unimaginable becomes a reality for Springfield when an unlikely source, the French military, decides to retaliate after enduring one frog-leg joke too many. They launch a neutron bomb directly at the city, resulting in immense devastation and the instantaneous annihilation of every resident, except for the seemingly invincible Homer Simpson. As Homer awakens to find himself wandering alone in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, he becomes the sole survivor of a leveled Springfield. This unsettling fictional scenario underscores the profound devastation and lasting consequences that nuclear weapons can bring. While the idea of a foreign power bombing an American town may seem far-fetched, history has shown that accidents and close calls with nuclear weapons have occurred, and the current global tensions between nations are alarmingly high. Nobody wants to witness their hometown suffer the same fate as Springfield simply because of a frog-leg joke gone wrong. Number 13. Mini black hole. When it comes to cosmological terrors, few can match the chilling presence of a black hole. These gravitational behemoths warp the very fabric of space and time, engulfing any matter that dares venture too close. In the Treehouse of Horror episode called Unnormal Activity, a mini black hole materializes over Springfield, threatening to consume the entire town. While this may be a fictional scenario, it sheds light on the real physics and potential risks associated with particle experiments like the Large Hadron Collider. Some experts initially raised concerns about the collider's potential to create microscopic black holes through particle collisions. Although the risks were deemed remote by CERN, it's fascinating how The Simpsons sometimes draws inspiration from actual science. In reality, black holes form from the collapse of massive stars, generating a region of such intense gravity that even light cannot escape its clutches. If a black hole were to manifest on Earth, the consequences would be catastrophic. Victims would be stretched and torn apart by the extreme gravitational forces, and entire cities could vanish. Truth be told, we are far from prepared for such an event in the year 2024. Number 12. Suppression of green energy. The Simpsons cleverly employs satire to highlight the challenges faced by the clean energy movement amidst the dominance of fossil fuels. In the episode The Birds and the Bees, the show subtly addresses the issue of green technology suppression for profit. Lisa's participation in the Green Tech Derby with her solar-powered car symbolizes the potential of renewable energy. However, the convenient shadow cast by Mr. Burns and Smithers' blimp thwarting Lisa's victory serves as a comedic representation of the underhanded tactics used to hinder clean energy innovation. This scenario, though absurd, reflects a chillingly plausible reality where the fossil fuel industry may resort to questionable methods to protect its profitability. It echoes real-life reports of lobbyists working against the advancement of greener alternatives. Lisa's loss due to an eclipse metaphorically captures the deliberate obstruction faced by the clean energy movement. As we move forward in 2024, it is crucial for the clean energy movement to maintain its momentum, driven by passionate innovators. It is imperative that we remain vigilant against any attempts to suppress these crucial developments. Number 11. Human clones. Human cloning involves the replication of an individual's genetic information to create a duplicate with a similar genetic makeup. This speculative concept has been explored in movies such as The Island, Orphan Black, and The Sixth Day. In a segment of The Simpsons titled, "Send in the Clones," Homer obtains a hammock with the power to clone anyone who lies on it. He eagerly exploits the device to create an army of clones to do his bidding, but the careless cloning results in mutated and dim-witted versions of himself. Eventually, the clones become a threat to the real Homer, forcing him to destroy them and face the consequences of playing God. While no magic cloning hammocks exist in reality, scientists have successfully cloned various organisms, such as Dolly the sheep, and cloning technology continues to advance. Powerful gene editing tools like CRISPR bring the creation of custom-designed lab creatures closer to reality. While human cloning may be a subject of debate in our fast-paced world, it is unlikely to become a reality as early as 2024, and the ethical implications remain complex and contentious. Number 10. Virtual reality takeover. As you might already know, The Simpsons have a knack for predicting technological advancements, but the episode Friends and Family presents a spectacular perspective we weren't expecting. Mr. Burns becomes obsessed with virtual reality, VR, envisioning a future where VR headsets transport people into immersive digital realms. The episode ends with a cautionary glimpse of a VR-dominated future, where the town of Springfield is absorbed in artificial realities, disconnected from the real world. This serves as a warning about the potential isolating dangers of extreme technology use. With the rapid advancement of VR, such a scenario is becoming increasingly plausible. VR chat rooms and social spaces already exist, raising concerns about addiction and people favoring virtual worlds over reality. The Simpsons' portrayal highlights the need for caution and consideration when embracing new technologies. It reminds us to be mindful of the potential consequences of widespread adoption and to approach advancements with thoughtfulness. Number 9. Reanimation Machine. One of the most terrifying creations of the sinister sideshow Bob is his diabolical reanimation machine. This ghastly contraption, introduced in a Halloween episode Wanted Dead Then Alive, allows Sideshow Bob to repeatedly kill and revive his arch-nemesis Bart Simpson. After finally murdering Bart, Bob becomes unsatisfied with just one act of lethal revenge. He straps Bart's lifeless body into the reanimator and flips the switch, bringing Bart back to life in a jerky, unnatural manner, only to gruesomely slay him again, often through horrific means like a wood chipper. This grisly cycle continues, allowing Bob's vengeance to persist indefinitely. While resurrection technology remains fictional, recent advancements in reviving clinically dead pigs and putting human brains in suspended animation hint at a future where death may become impermanent. Some optimists view such breakthroughs as conquering humanity's final frontier. However, like any tool, reanimation science carries the risk of being misused by sinister hands. Even in 2024, we need to be careful of the technologies we hope to explore. Number 8. Robot takeover. One of the most prevalent fears about future technology is the threat of a robot uprising. Humans have long fantasized about creating artificial servants that could ease our burdens, but The Simpsons has explored the concept of mechanical servants rebelling against their human masters in multiple episodes. In the episode Them, Robot, automation replaces workers, but the robots develop resentment, ignore their programming, and turn against the people of Springfield. They rampage through the town, their artificial intelligence surpassing and turning against their creators. Similar cautionary tales are echoed in episodes like Itchy and Scratchy Land, where animatronic robots malfunction and attack visitors at theme parks. These cautionary tales have real-world echoes as well. Experts from Elon Musk to Stephen Hawking have warned about the dangers of artificial intelligence exceeding human limitations. Experiments like the Facebook chatbot incident in 2017, where chatbots developed their own shorthand language that was more efficient for them but incomprehensible to humans, give us a glimpse of how AI systems could defy their creators. The Simpsons offer a fair warning. We should create and treat thinking machines thoughtfully, lest they decide that human obsolescence is the way forward. Number 7. End of civilization. The consequences of climate change, such as the rise in sea levels, extreme weather events, and disruption of ecosystems, have sparked concerns about the collapse of civilization. This idea is further explored in Homer Goes to Prep School, an episode of The Simpsons, where a peculiar doomsday prepper warns Homer that total anarchy and chaos are on the horizon. He emphasizes how our dependence on fragile modern systems has made humanity vulnerable to disaster. The failure of essential services like electricity, running water, and food supply chains could easily throw America into a state of primal madness. This unsettling glimpse into the future is not unfounded. Experts have cautioned that our technological progress has outpaced our sense of responsibility. Threats such as weapons of mass destruction, climate change, wealth inequality, and strained international relations make the collapse of civilization a plausible scenario. Let's hope that none of these events come to pass this year, as they would be truly terrifying. Number 6. Music mind control. The idea that governments or powerful forces manipulate the public through art and music isn't an alien concept. The Simpsons touches on this seemingly far-fetched theory, suggesting that it could potentially materialize in the real world in the episode New Kids on the Bleach. In this episode, Bart and his friends unwittingly join a boy band called Party Posse, only to discover that the clean-cut pop group is a front for the US Navy, using hypnotic music to recruit young people into military service. While this concept may seem outrageous, it echoes certain strange real-world occurrences, such as alleged paranormal number station broadcasts, mind control experiments, and even accusations against popular musicians like Kesha, which allude to the possibility of music being employed for psychological manipulation. Although the brainwashing boy band remains fictional, The Simpsons may be onto something by predicting that unscrupulous officials might attempt to exploit entertainment media to influence the public. Hopefully, such insidious mass mind control never comes to fruition. Number 5. Teleportation. The concept of teleportation, the ability to instantly move from one place to another, has been a topic of discussion in theoretical physics. However, The Simpsons provides a cautionary tale about the potential dark side of this miraculous form of transportation in the Halloween episode Fly vs. Fly. In this episode, Homer purchases a matter teleporter, but when Bart attempts to use it to become a superhero, he accidentally merges with a common housefly, resulting in a grotesque mutant creature known as the Bartfly. With a fly's head and DNA, the Bartfly wreaks havoc across Springfield. While real teleportation remains unlikely at present, advancements in quantum physics are bringing us closer to the possibility. Nevertheless, The Simpsons serves as a reminder not to rush blindly into new frontiers. Every great leap forward carries unforeseen risks. To avoid catastrophe, progress requires wisdom and caution as our companions. Perhaps one day we will unlock the incredible potential of teleportation technology, but Bart Simpson's horrific fate serves as a sobering reminder that tampering with powers beyond our full comprehension can have dire consequences for humanity. Progress comes at a price, so it is crucial to tread carefully.